Welcome to the SpiritWoke Podcast, podcasting from the beautiful city of Stillwater, the birthplace of Minnesota. Are you going through a spiritual awakening? Do you wish to learn more about continued spiritual growth and want to meet others who are on a similar journey? We hope that this podcast and its community can be a meaningful resource for you. The SpiritWoke Podcast welcomes special guests from around the globe who share personal stories of their awakening journey, along with details of spiritual abilities they've developed along the way. So buckle up and get ready for this exciting episode. And now, here's your host, Adam Dince.
Friends, welcome back to the SpiritWoke Podcast. Today, I am beyond excited to welcome to the show DeEtte Ranae. So DeEtte Ranae is a psychic medium. She's a medical intuitive and a teacher of psychic and mediumship development, and she's from the great state of Wisconsin. So right, just a neighbor to the other side of the river here of Minnesota. So she's just a stone's throw away. DeEtte was born knowing spirit. She spent her childhood listening to spirit and simply knowing things. In 2005, DeEtte began studying energy and became a Reiki master teacher. She found a love of helping those with illness live a more enjoyable life, and for others, a return to health. She has spent the past 10 years developing her own style, broadening from physical healing to body, mind, and spirit. In 2013, DeEtte moved to the North Woods of Wisconsin and began a spiritual journey of healing and growth. She transformed her life through her studies of psychic and mediumship. She found a love of working with spirit and became certified in advanced psychic and advanced mediumship through the LWISSD. DeEtte also travels the country doing readings for gallery events and recently returned from Scotland, where she did readings for a group of people that gathered from around the world. Finally, DeEtte has a passion for helping others to heal and to guide people on their life path. And I can share with you folks that I've met DeEtte. I met her a couple of months ago. Maybe it was just a month ago at a metaphysical event here in Minnesota. She crossed the river and came over to the dark side. And we had a fantastic conversation. She's a brilliant light, and I can't wait for you all to meet her. So DeEtte, welcome to the SpiritWoke Podcast.
Hey, how are you doing? Thanks for having me.
I am doing fantastic. Thrilled to have you here. And I cannot wait to talk to you and for the audience to get to know you. And today we're going to be talking about both psychic abilities and mediumship. And we've got a demonstration for you today. So I've offered myself up as the demonstratee. So I have no idea what DeEtte is going to say about me or whatever. So just know Adam's here, your humble host, opening up and just being as authentic as I can be, because I want you to see DeEtte's abilities and gifts and to know that it's real. So very excited tonight. So DeEtte, when I introduced you, I mentioned in your bio that you've had a strong connection to spirit since your childhood, and that's really fascinating to me. Because I've met a few people who have had that really strong connection, and since childhood, and I'm always interested to ask people who've had that. Do you remember the first time you felt connected?
I do, and I have to say I'll never forget it, and I probably was never so terrified. I was laying in my bed. I knew something was there. I couldn't see it. I could just feel it. I can remember having the covers just up around my neck, just shivering for life, and trying to call out for my mom, which I believe was not much more than maybe a faint whisper. And I really had to go to the bathroom. And I really kind of debated, and I was really young, probably about 6 years old, and kind of going back and forth, should I go to the bathroom? Should I stay there? I eventually threw the covers back and ran to the bathroom, shut the door, and all of a sudden I felt safe, like nothing was there. And then I turned around and had to make that dart back to bed and get under the covers as fast as I could. And I after that, it seemed to be a nightly thing where I could feel things there. I couldn't see them, but I could definitely feel them. A couple years later, my grandmother was in the hospital. And I'm at an age where back then you had to be older than 13 in order to go up to see somebody in the hospital. And I was only 9. So I wasn't able to see what a hospital looked like or my grandmother after she went in. And I had gone to sleep one night while she was there. And I had had a dream where she had come to me and we were walking the halls. And she was talking to me about different things like heaven and life and death and opening doors and shutting doors. And eventually we get to this last room and she opens up the door and there's a lady in the bed and she's an older lady and she's got tubes and hoses, and which now I know is just oxygen and IV. And she said, who is that? And I looked at the lady and I said, Grandma, that's you. And she goes, but who am I? And I looked at her and I said, well, Grandma, you're Grandma too. And I was quite confused by this. And that's when she explained to me the difference between the body and the soul. She also told me that I would go on to talk to souls throughout my life and that I should no longer be afraid. And then she had told me that she'd also passed away and that her soul had moved on. I woke up that morning, told my mom Grandma had died. My mom told me that no, she hadn't. And about a half hour later, my mom got the call that she had passed away. After that, I was no longer afraid of the things that went bump in the night.
That's amazing, DeEtte. So is it the case that your family, that this gift, this ability to connect runs in your family?
It does, but it's strangely enough, it actually is because I'm half adopted. So my father is the one that gave up rights to me, and it's my father's side of the family that is strong with spirit and things of that nature. And my mother's side is not. So with me growing up and having spirit around and feeling spirit and just knowing things, my mother, would always kind of shut me down, not realizing that I had this gift. Because my maternal side of the family has no connection to mediumship. It's all on my father's side.
Oh, wow. And so
Yeah.
did your mom know that about your dad's side?
Not at all. Not at all.
Okay.
Matter of fact, my dad didn't release that knowledge until, I had met him several years later. And now he is actually recently, and I was with him sporadically throughout my life. But after he passed away just this last December, many of his friends have reached out and told me all the abilities my father had, and that they were always telling him things, or he was always telling them things and offering guidance, and he was always right, or he was talking to their parents for them, and it really showed how gifted he really was.
Oh, wow. That's just amazing. It's
Yeah.
yeah. What a special gift to share too, and yeah. Wow, that's a whole other conversation.
It really is.
Yeah. So, wow, very touching, very, very beautiful. So, based on that, DeEtte, do you believe that some people are just more open than others? Like some people are born with an amazing gift, let's just say, of playing an instrument, like the piano, right? They're just naturally gifted, and they like my dad. My dad, he definitely had that gift. He's like 3 or 4 years old. He just sat at a piano and started playing and had this beautiful gift. And you juxtapose that against someone who has to take years of lessons to play, and though they learn to play very well because they train, they're never quite as good as someone who's born with the ability. And so I guess what I'm asking is, do you believe that applies with with spiritual abilities as well?
Well, that's kind of like a twofold question. Because as you know, I teach psychic mediumship development. So everybody is born psychic. It's a natural gift, whether you see or hear or feel, or just know things. Everybody is born with that sixth sense. Okay. Some people are stronger than others, but you can also, per se, like as if you were going to go to the gym and work on your biceps, you can practice and strengthen your gifts. So, and that's one reason why I teach, the development. A lot of people, will have just that gut intuition or the sensitivity of just knowing things or feeling things of that nature. Now, on the mediumship side, yeah, I do strongly believe that is something you were born with. And it's a gift, it's just that your brain they've actually done some scientific tests, and I from what I have seen, they state that when our brains are tested, when we're doing mediumship readings, our brain activity actually slows down. And I do believe that's because spirit's coming in and we're just a conduit of that information that's coming in, and they're kind of using us. And I do believe we're born with that ability to just kind of be in that present moment, shut the mind down, switch it from right to left brain, and let that be, let that go. But at the same time, and this will, I keep telling people I'm working myself out of my own job. If you have a loved one in spirit, you don't need a medium to talk to that loved one. You yourself can connect to that person because you have got that connection with them already. It's, again, just a matter of learning to see signs, learning to be able to switch into that left brain and receive the information.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that. I just finished recording another podcast, and I didn't just do it, but yesterday or the day before, and I was sharing this story of I was guiding a meditation. There's a salt cave here in Minneapolis, and it's a beautiful room, and it's hot, and it's made of 100% salt, and you lay on the salt, and you're surrounded by salt. It's a beautiful room, and I led a guided meditation to help people connect with those who've crossed over, someone who's crossed over. And after the meditation was over, a woman who was a participant, she came up and said, I didn't see my dad, but I really felt him. And I don't know if it was him because I didn't see him, but I definitely I felt him. I could have sworn that he was there, and I saw these numbers, and my dad was a math guy. He was a numbers guy, and so, but I don't know if I saw him. I don't know if he was there, and it's so fascinating that you hit the nail on the head. I love what you just said, because I think when people just sort of surrender and they let go, just being able to connect to our loved ones who have crossed over that ability becomes a lot clearer than when we're just thinking about it and we're trying to do it with our brains.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly how it works.
Yeah, really, really powerful. One of the first books I read was not one of the first books I read, but as I got really into sort of this whole spiritual, I call it hippy dippy spiritual stuff. One of the first books I read was by Laura Lynn Jackson. Are you familiar with her?
No, I'm not. I feel like I should be, though.
Well, Laura Lynn Jackson wrote this beautiful book called The Light Between Us, and she's a medium. And she basically talks a lot about how that the ability, we all have the ability to connect, and how close, it's not like the other side is on the other side of the galaxy. It's literally right in front of us. It's just a different frequency, a different vibration. But yeah, and I think she was tested too for her psychic abilities. I can't remember the organization's name, but her and Kim Russo and a few of the other prominent mediums out there, I think there's only like a dozen who've gotten certified as she has. I think she had to do some 5 or 6 double blind or triple blind readings. Mm-hmm. And but when they tested her brain, they found that her brain operated much differently. When I say readings, mediumship readings, not psychic readings, but they found that her brain activity totally shifted. And I guess that isn't really necessarily something you can learn, right? That's got to be something that you're just born with.
Well, it's something you're born with, but it's something you can learn also. Like I tell people when I'm instructing them, I want them every day to pick that sacred spot or that spot in their home or in their garden, wherever, that they're going to go every day for 30 minutes. I want them to learn how to meditate, really relax, and get that brain to start switching. Not everybody is, we're in this life, we are so busy and we're so right-brained all the time. We're taught to think all the time, and we're not taught to shut down, get present, and flip that switch. So yeah, it is something you can learn. Excuse me. To flip that switch into the left brain, and that's how they do it with psychic. With mediumship, when you're looking at the difference between the psychic and the mediumship, it's a vibration. So it's literally, psychic is going to be on one vibration level where mediumship is on a higher vibration level. And she's 110% correct when spirit is literally 3 feet away from you. They're an arm length away at all times.
Wow. That's amazing. So in your ability, you actually can see people, like you Is that correct?
I don't see him as a 3D in front of me.
Okay.
I'm actually predominantly clairaudient, which means
Oh.
I predominantly hear. Am I able to see? Yes, I do. They will show me images, and how I see it is actually in my mind. Even my hearing is in my mind. So I have literally trained my brain. It's almost kind of like, I guess the best way I can say is almost kind of like a computer, where if you're looking at a screen and you're seeing the voice, the vibration of the voice on the computer kind of going up and down, that's where my brain is hearing inside of itself. So when I hear spirit, I hear my voice, but I know it's not mine. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
But I will hear their accents. I will hear different words that they're saying, their slang, their way of speaking. If they were a little slow in their dialect, fast in their dialect, they also show me images. But again, the images are in my mind. So they flash me pictures that my brain just registers. To other people, it might look kind of like a memory, how it kind of, I see it. Feelings, they actually, I start to feel in my body exactly what happened with them.
Wow.
So like with my practice, I don't hear a lot of names. I don't hear a lot of numbers. Spirit tells me in my life, in my profession, those things are not necessarily highly important to me. Because, my life, I've been a nurse, so I'm more about the medical and making sure you're okay and healthy. So what they do is they actually will use my body, and I will feel what the loved one, maybe their illnesses, maybe how they passed away, I'll feel it within myself. If I'm not quite getting exactly what they're feeling, they might, shoot me the word cancer or something of that nature. But they give me a lot of details and other ways so the person in front of me knows exactly who I'm talking to.
Yeah. Wow. That is really cool. That is really cool. And I say that because I don't have any of those abilities. So I'm, it's really cool to hear that. That's so fascinating. I mean, this stuff just blows my mind. So, I know it does too for a lot of our listeners. And so, well, cool. Well, friends listening in, as you well know, we rarely do demonstrations on the podcast. But DeEtte has graciously agreed to use me as her subject to demonstrate her incredible abilities with mediumship and whatnot. And so I'm, again, as I mentioned earlier, I'm putting myself out there for you all to hear because I want you to know that this is real. And I want you to, and the reason why I want you to know it's real is if you're suffering, when I say if you're suffering, if you've suffered through loss, or if you're suffering through loss, I know that feeling, and that's my story. You guys know my story. And that's what woke me up, was the pain of the loss that I felt in my life. And what saved me in a lot of ways was finding someone like DeEtte who is able to connect with the loved ones that I had lost, and being able to believe because of that there is something else after death, that there is no such thing as death. It's just a rebirth. And I just want you to know that, again, I've said it, it's real, and you can have faith. And I hope that this demonstration that DeEtte's agreed to do will make that loud and clear for you listening in. So I think I've rambled on long enough, DeEtte. So I'm going to pass the mic over to you, and I'm going to let you be the guide. And I'm going to sit here, and whatever you need me to do, you let me know. But I'm ready when you are.
Excellent. Okay. Well, I was almost wondering, because when you said you were hearing clicking a little bit ago, I was wondering if it was the female that had come into me. Because as soon as you said it, I started seeing instruments, but not things going on right now. It's because in a future demonstration, I'm actually doing it with paranormal people, and the click, click, click would be a spirit being next to me. So I'm wondering if that's what you were hearing for a moment ago. I don't know if that makes sense to you or not. But I will say that I do have a female that's with me here. She does feel like she was an older female. The way she's making me feel, wow, the longer she sits with me, a few things are happening. One, my mouth is getting a tinny taste in it. It feels like it's actually from my medication. And the breathing is making me kind of hard in my chest, like it's a little tighter in my chest. Thank you. And I'm also starting to feel up and through into my throat a sensation. It feels a little thicker. And my body is actually starting to heat up a little bit with this person. So they're letting me know there's an illness with them. And it feels like the illness went on for a little while. There's also a drying sensation in my mouth that feels twofold. One, it does feel like it's from medication, but two, like they're not able to take in a lot of fluids. I know I had asked you prior to us recording because this female showed up before. Do you have somebody that aged through passing or like sick and became aged through that? Does that make sense to you?
Oh, so a woman who
A woman that was maybe not in their 70s, 80s, 90s, but through illness aged. Does that make sense? I don't know how to explain that to you.
Yeah, no, I see. I know. I see what you're saying. No, that's not.
I don't know who this is. I apologize. They actually feel as if it's weird because the way the warmth is hitting, it's hitting to my mid chest and it's actually spreading out. So it does feel like this person has cancer, but it does feel like it's in the chest area. Maybe not breast, but possibly lung area. But I do know the illness is affected there in that area of them. Thank you. They're also letting me know that they did lose a lot of weight through this progress of the sickness. Like they lost weight and lost weight and lost weight. And I'm hearing the word aunt. So I don't know if it's an aunt figure or somebody. It doesn't necessarily have to be a mom or a grandmother to you, but who's the lady that's older that would be like sidestep, like an aunt type figure to you that would have passed away this way? Because you don't feel like you have a ton of people really close to you passing, like a huge amount, but it does feel like this person's more prominent with you.
Yeah.
I don't know if this makes sense. If it doesn't, it's okay.
It doesn't.
Okay. Do you have somebody on the phone with you, though? Does it resonate with them?
Nobody's.
Nobody that can hear you?
No.
Okay, because I'm like, is this belong to somebody right next to you?
It could be someone related to my wife, but I don't know that she. Yeah, so that could be it.
It's okay because they could be coming through to talk. How spirit will work is if they know we were here together to have a conversation, they might show up for the wife. Does that make sense?
Yep, it sure does.
And they can kind of do a step through us to say, oh my God, I got off the phone with her and this is what I got from this. Okay. So, because it feels like it's not you, it feels like it's one step next to you. So it's kind of like either you have somebody on the phone with you or you have somebody close to you and it belongs to that person. Thank you. And the more I sit with them, the more I start getting dry. And they're letting me know that there also feels like there was a heart condition prior to this. So it might have been just blood pressure problems, but I get blood pressure medication tastes like tin in my mouth. Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense because that runs in my wife's family, blood pressure issues for sure.
Okay. Thank you. I'm hearing the word slow down. And whoa. It's weird because you know when if you're getting on a horse and you're like, whoa, slow down. I'm hearing that. Is your wife going kind of faster than normal in life or kind of speeding along nonstop or not taking that time to smell the roses type per se, that feeling? Because it feels like I'm hearing that slow down. Thank you. I'm hearing like career and everything, like trying to go 10 forward, like push. And she's telling her to slow down. Thank you, honey. Thank you. Who's got the cancer on her side of the family? It's really weird because I've seen an aunt, I've seen a grandmother, but I know it's on the female side of her family. With heart.
I'm going to feel incredibly guilty about this, but I don't know the answer to that question.
Well, I'm not sure who this is. If you could please just let your wife know.
I will.
This information. And I'm asking and it's basically about her slowing down, taking time, sitting back and relaxing a little bit, okay? It just feels like they're letting me know that in her day-to-day life, I don't know, she feels like she's rushing or trying to do a little bit more, but she needs to kind of sit back and relax a little bit. I don't know if that makes sense to you, but I'm hearing those words, like hold on, like slow down. So, thank you. Beautiful. Okay. And something about a child. I don't know what that is. Something about a child with your wife. Just to slow down and kind of sit back and relax with that. Okay.
Yep, that makes
I don't
sense.
thank you. I'm like, tell me more, tell me more, tell me more. They're saying it goes with being that child and to slow down and relax. Slow down, relax with that. It feels like it's going to come, just to slow down and relax. Like just, it's not a race to the finish line. Okay. It's going to come, just to kind of take some deep breaths and relax and allow that child to come. Okay. So, thank you. Go on. Wow. They actually stepped back. So, okay. Beautiful. Thank you. And for some reason, I'm hearing love and light with her. So it lets me know that her family has got a more of a spiritual connection, even if they don't necessarily announce it to the world. But there's a certain amount of faith there. I don't know if it's religious as much as it is faith, because I'm hearing love and light to her. So, okay. I'm hearing grandmother again. Grandmother. I know you said you don't have a grandmother that's passed away, but do you have a grandmother type figure? Because I'm hearing grandmother again.
Well, yeah, what I was going to share earlier, it was I lost my great grandmother, and I also lost my grandmother on my dad's side, but I didn't really know my grandmother on my dad's side, because my dad was an older father. So yeah.
And that's okay, because I'm going, I tried to push the grandmother away, and she's back saying, I'm a grandmother and I'm here. Okay. Kind of like you do know who she is, though. Okay. I don't know how much of a relationship you had with her, but she's there. So even if it's a great grandmother, she's coming through just saying grandmother, grandmother. Okay. So, thank you. I like her. And it's weird because she's telling me there's a sternness about her, but she doesn't feel like a stern woman to me. So I don't know if she was just, proper, if that makes better sense than what today's caliber of, grandmothers would be. But she's telling me there's a certain thank you. She has this nice smile. Are you two about the same size? Because she's smaller. She's a smaller lady. She's not showing me as this very tall woman. She's presenting as a smaller lady, like shorter in stature. She's also making me feel like she's not that far from the boat. And when I say far from the boat, it's not that she's not American, but she's maybe her and or her grandparents, like her parents or grandparents, come from another country over to here. And I know we're looking at the 1900s, 1800s, but it feels like somewhere in the 1800s the family came over. Does that make sense to you? Like you can't get your, she's telling me you can't, when you go back to the family lineage, it's not that many years actually in the United States as when it goes from years. It might be 100 years, 150 years, but she's letting me know she's not far from that boat. Okay. She's also showing me that she's like she's a smaller woman, and she keeps showing me this. And did her husband pass away before her?
Yes.
Because she's showing me that it's weird because she's showing me in herself in like a mourning cloth is what she's showing me. It's like she makes me feel like she was in mourning for quite some time, or she stayed in that mourning type cycle. So the husband passed away, and she's making me feel like she never moved on or never got another relationship, never married after that. But she's showing me this mourning cloth. So I don't know if she just always wore darker colors, but she's making me feel as if he passed away quite a way before she did. Thank you. And you must have had some sort of a stronger connection with her. She's showing me herself as a younger lady. Do you look like your grandmother, great grandmother? There's a resemblance there. I'm seeing your smile on her.
It could be.
It's like, I know I've only seen you really the once. And when I look over to see your picture, I'm seeing that big smile on her. Okay. So It's a big smile. It's the smaller stature type of a woman. It's not a big woman. It's a smaller stature, and I'm literally looking at her, and she's like, look at him, you'll see me. But she's letting me know, she's just, she's showing me more of a youthful thing, but she's also showing me there's something about her that's helped nurture you onto where you have gone through life. Okay. Like nurturing you. Thank you. It doesn't feel like it's a direct nurture, but it does feel like when you look back over your family lineage, you would find it goes back to her, or that line of, I don't know if it's dedication, I don't know what it is, but there's a direct line to her when it comes to nurturing her, or where you have gotten to be in life at this point. Thank you. And trust me, I don't think she was in marketing. It's just
No.
there's this, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's that thing to help people. I don't know what it is, but she's showing me it's going back to her. So,
that makes sense.
So, beautiful. Thank you. Wow. She's also she's making me feel as if she really lived quite a long life. My mother's only in her 60s and she's a great grandma, but she's making me feel like she lived quite a long life. And she's making me feel as if it's weird because she's making my mouth really dry out. She's actually kind of like, the eyes are kind of getting tired. And she's also kind of shutting down my throat chakra. So I don't know if she wasn't able to speak towards the end or she just wasn't a woman that spoke much. But she's really starting to shut down that throat of hers. Okay. But there's also something about you also because you've found your voice. Okay. And she showed me that's the opposite from her. Like, it's weird because I know she showed me as a stern person at the beginning, but she's also making me feel like she wasn't necessarily somebody that always spoke and like didn't always speak what was on her mind. So it's not that there wasn't there's a fine line there is what she's showing me and that she holds back a little bit. And are you of Polish descent? Because she keeps making me feel like she's from Poland or something.
Yes.
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 She shows me like Polish clothes. I'm like, oh my God, she's got to be Polish. So thank you. And I always like fearful of going there because for some reason, Polish women and German women, they got a lot of the same things, you know what I mean, attributes to them. So they have that sternness, they have the softness, they speak, but they don't always speak what's right in their heart. You know what I mean? It's more society-based or a proper way of doing things. Excuse me. But she showed me that, but she's also let me know, it feels like if you go back through your family lineage, has your family always been, maybe speak this and that, but not always spoke was on your mind? Type of thing, kind of came up to the plate, were present at the plate, but didn't really always speak everything. I don't know if it's shy or timidness or just not a very open throat chakra. But she showed me you have opened up your throat chakra, like you're being who you're supposed to be. So, and she makes me feel like not everybody has done that within your family. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, thank you. Because she's saying you're not being like her anymore. Like you're not being like her anymore. So, and you've learned to open up and speak up. And wow, this is really weird. Normally I see wooden spoons with older ladies, and she's showing me a silver spoon. A silver spoon. Silver spoon. Now, did she either work in a restaurant or just cook for a lot of people?
With me, so we lived we lived in Florida, and there wasn't much of our family there. She had kind of retired in Florida, so I saw her a lot. And every time my dad would take me over to her apartment, or her condo, she would always make me soup, or she would have ice cream. That's always how she'd welcome me in, was with some kind of food.
Okay, thank you. Because she showed me a silver spoon. So it's like a constant cooking is what she's showing me. Is that it's weird because most older ladies always show me the wooden spoon. She's very much on the silver spoon type of thing, which is, and maybe it's just because she was more with the ages than most people were. So, but she's just showing me that. Whoa. Do you understand when she's trying to get somebody's attention or trying to get a point across? Can you hear the tapping of the spoon on the table or the counter? She's showing me tapping it. Not like shaking the soup off or shaking food off of it, but I'm hearing like a tapping of it. Like, it's kind of like, can you hear me? Are you listening? Tap, kind of like to get your attention a little bit, not in a mean way, but kind of like, if somebody would go to do a speech and they go the ting, ting, ting on the side of the glass. She's doing it on the countertop to me. Not really loud, but just enough to kind of bring the attention to her, like she's got something to say, or it's time to kind of bring people together. Thank you. Beautiful. She's also let me know that, wow, when she passed away, her take on passing away was kind of like she opened up a patio door and walked through it and just walked into another journey.
Wow.
Like, I don't know if she lived on the beach because I'm seeing more of a patio, like an upstairs patio. But she's showing me like she opens it up and she walks out into it and just keeps walking. But it's like the beach is underneath her, even if it's feet below her. And she just walked through it.
Yes, she did.
And she just walked through it and just said, okay, it was time to pass. It was time to just go on to the next, like she was ready to go on to the next journey. Thank you. And if you want to know, she says that you want to know that she's proud of you. There's she makes me feel like you haven't really thought about her for a long time or for a while, but she wants to let you know that she's very proud of you. But it's not proud of your success. It's proud about speaking your truth, being you. Thank you. You're not the shy, quiet kid you used to be. So, beautiful. Thank you. And what is it about your teeth? She keeps pointing to your teeth.
I don't know.
I don't know. Do you whiten them?
No.
Are they whiter than they used to be? She just keeps pointing to your teeth, and they're really white, really shiny, and really white. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I don't know what that is either.
I don't know what it is. So I don't know if it's just your smile or what it is, but she keeps pointing to your teeth. So thank you. Beautiful. And wow, she must still spoke Polish or another language because she's saying something in a language I don't understand, but it's basically, and I love you. Oh. And I love you, but it's not in English. I don't know what it is. So I don't know what that is. So thank you. And she's just saying that she's gone home. She's gone home. So she's gone home. So do you have any questions of her?
I have a question. Yeah. And so about 7 or 8 months ago, I was meditating, and I hadn't thought. I mean, like every once in the blue moon, I would think of her. Not very often, but there was always a very special place in my heart for my great grandma. We were very close when I was younger, and but during a meditation, she popped into my mind, and I saw her, and I asked if she was a guide, and she said yes. And then afterwards, I grabbed my pendulum, and because I didn't believe what I saw in my meditation, because I always think too much about things. But I asked my pendulum, and it said that she was a guide of mine, and so. Not necessarily a spirit guide, but a guide. And so I guess I would like to ask if that was her, or if that was. Well, she said
she's changed your life. She's helped to the changing of your life. She came in at a time that was changing your life. She's the one that's come in to help change your life. It's about making an authentic you, a you. And thank you. You've had more changes recently too. And she's talking about that she's been helping with those. Yeah. So the changes of recent, not just over the course of the last year, because I do know that you've had a lot of changes over the last year. She's let me know that she's came in, she's been a part of that changing of your life. But the very recent changes, she's been on the other side kind of guiding you through those. Not orchestrating, but helping you through those, helping you to find that path. Those ways of doing things. So, thank you. Wow. And are you decided to welcome things into your life? She says that she's helped to help you welcome things. I don't know what she means by that, but she says that she's the one on the other side helping you to help welcome things into your life, things that you weren't willing to do before or accept into your life. And now she's on the other side helping you to welcome you. So,
yeah.
She's also saying you'll be a good dad. I don't know what that is, dear.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is. I don't know if the wife is pregnant or what's going on, but she says that you'll be a good dad. I don't know what's going on with that. but it makes me, I don't know what that is. I would love to assume, but I think it would ruin the message. You know,
Okay.
it would totally ruin the message if I tried to assume what she's talking about. So for all I know, you might be getting a cat. I don't know. So,
I know what she's talking about.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. So I'm just going to let you have that. And know that she is there. She is one of your guides. She is helping you on the other side. People can be guides that have passed over, within your loved ones to help you on your journey. So, and they do become spirit guides.
Wow.
So, thank you. Wow. And she's showing me one of those, the old calculators with the beads that go up and down, like you had, I can't think of the name of them. Show me one of the, is it obligate? I can't think of it. Abacus? I can't remember.
Abacus.
Anyway, thank you. She's showing me one of those, and you're moving things up on that from one side to the other. So she makes me feel as if you're starting to do a checklist of things you wanted to do or things you're going to do, but like you're progressing forward. So,
wow.
But she's showing me like a really old one. I'm like, there you go. And do you have any other questions of her?
Oh boy, off the top of my head, I mean, I haven't, she passed when I was so young, and, but we were very close, up until the point where she got sick and passed away. And, I guess the only other question I would ask is, in terms of soul family, in terms of living other lives together, is there any, have we lived many lives before? Have we been connected, or like I don't even know how to ask the question.
Of your grandma?
Yeah.
She's playing a song for me. Oh my God, I can't. It's an 80s song. It's basically, I'm hearing life goes on, but it's like an 80s ballad. You know what I mean? Like a heavy metal ballad from like the, did she pass away in the 80s?
Yeah, the early 80s.
Thank you, kids. It's like a 1980s ballad that was popular back then. Something about going on. She's basically saying that life is going on, like life goes on. And like you've had those connections always. Thank you. She's at, you must have, everybody has a thing to their heritage, on some level. Do you have a strong connection to your Polish heritage, like a strong England to it?
No.
What is the heritage? Because she showed me like a strong connection to an old heritage.
I don't know. I don't really have a strong connection outside of my American heritage.
Well, look into the Polish one, because she showed me that you've been together in Poland, because she's saying she went back to the homeland.
Oh, I wonder.
Going back to the homeland. So like it goes back to the homeland is what she's stating.
Okay.
So I would say you've probably lived at least one life with her there.
Wow.
So, and
okay.
She's going back to the last one, because she's saying going back to the homeland. So it's really weird, because she showed me, and probably Polish clothing of literally the 1800s, early 1800s. So, but when they're more like, the hardworking farmer type, that type of strong female. So.
Wow, that's interesting. Interesting. I had a past life regression. I think it was last March or last April. And when I did the past life regression, I don't know where it was. I saw it in my mind, more like snapshots. They weren't like a movie. It wasn't like watching a movie. It was like watching still frames with just some knowing connected to it. And but I don't know the location. And I've been trying to figure out that location, and I wonder, because it feels like it was like in the late 1800s, and it was in a place with lots of bricks. And when I say bricks, I mean the buildings. There were brick streets, and there were the buildings were it was definitely overseas somewhere in a
Right.
European type of culture. And so it's interesting because the woman that you mentioned in terms of in that past life and how she was described the woman, the wife figure that was in my life during that past life regression. So I almost wonder if that was, if that's what I was seeing, but I don't
I'm
know.
sure it is. And you can actually look like Google images of different time periods and see if it resonates to you.
Yeah.
Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
Yeah, it absolutely does. It absolutely does.
And I think you'll get a better connection of that. It's where seriously, if you look at where the women were like, I'm not seeing bustles. I'm not seeing big bustles. I'm not seeing like England. I'm not seeing that. I'm seeing that harder working type lifestyle is what I'm seeing.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
Any other questions I've heard?
No, you know what? You've done an amazing job, for sure, and I thank you for that. And for those of you listening in, just so you know that DeEtte and I did not coordinate this together. You heard the beginning. You heard the first part of the reading where she wasn't connecting with someone for me. She was connecting with someone from my wife's side of the family, and so I hope you can tell how real that was, and the Polish. She absolutely hit that nail right on the head, and that's amazing, DeEtte. Thank you so much for agreeing to do that for our podcast listeners, and it means a lot to me that you're able to connect with my great grandma.
Beautiful. I'd also suggest for you to start thinking about her a little bit more and do that connection, because I think you can start hearing her in your own mind and get a little bit better guidance one-on-one.
Okay.
So, because she's letting me know she's with you.
Okay, that's good insight. After I saw her in that meditation where I asked if she was my guide, I did keep her close for a while, and then I just kind of I don't know. I guess I started venturing into other areas with meditation, but yes, I will bring her. I will think about her all the time. Absolutely.
She'll love that. She'll love that. She will definitely love that.
Wow. Well, that is powerful. So, DeEtte, we've already been talking for almost 50 minutes, and the time has just flown by. And I want to be conscious of your time, and I thank you so much for the time that you spent with us already. Is there anything you would like to plug or promote while we have time here to talk about that?
Oh, wow. I'm finding myself, as with you, as with many other people in 2020, having a lot of different changes. One thing is not only I opened up my calendar and my availability to doing a lot of readings. I'm also doing a lot more teaching this year, whether it be you can find me on my Facebook at DeEtte Ranae, and see different places I'm teaching throughout Wisconsin, into Minnesota, Iowa, Illinois, things of that nature. Also my online teaching, I'm also doing a lot more of. So anything when it comes to that. So, my passion is just literally helping other people to make sanity of their life. So, and helping them to heal.
Absolutely. So those listening in, because I don't know who else I'd be talking to at this moment, but DeEtte spells her name DeEtte, and her last name is Ranae. So if you go on to Facebook and you search for DeEtte Ranae, you will find her there. Also, you'll note on the podcast artwork that her Facebook address is there as well. So you'll be able to connect with her that way. And if you look at the podcast page, so if you're on SpiritWoke.com and you're actually listening to this podcast on DeEtte's page, you'll find a bunch of links to find where to connect with her. If you're listening on Spotify or iTunes or Google Play, there should be a link or two there as well. But I encourage you to visit SpiritWoke.com and check out DeEtte's podcast page. There is there's a lot of information on ways that you can connect with her, and so I highly encourage you to do that. So DeEtte, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for your time that you've spent with us this evening. So thank you.
Thank you for having me. I really do appreciate it. It's been amazing.
Yeah, you're telling me. So I would and also love to have you back at some point in time. So
Fabulous.
Yeah, and so we can find another topic to talk about, and maybe we'll talk about learning mediumship, because I bet there are a lot of people out there, or learning psychic mediumship, because I bet there are a lot of people listening who are like, I want to learn how to do that, and so I know you're teaching it. So maybe we can do a podcast on some practical tips. We'll talk about it afterwards, but we'll definitely come back to this for sure.
Beautiful. We'll have to do a psychic reading next time.
Oh, dun, dun, dun. All right. Well, now she's guaranteed to be back. How can I pass that up? So, all right, friends. Well, again, thank you, DeEtte. And until next time, be well. And we will hear you on or you'll hear us or whatever on the next podcast. Take it easy, everyone.
Thanks for listening to the SpiritWoke Podcast. If you've enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and leave us a review on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Be sure to check out our website, spiritwoke.com, and connect with the SpiritWoke community on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Just search SpiritWoke. Join us next time for another edition of the SpiritWoke Podcast. Namaste.